patience and its size. All hope seems to die when he sees your eyes running through the night. Only takes him back, always out of sight, crawling through the night. Run, you can run, but you'll never hide. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming, you're running. The walls are coming. Good evening, everyone, and it is Monday night, so that can only mean because we had a late game on the Sunday, so we've got extra time on a Monday night, and it is going to be a Royal Rumble. We have got Always Wolves royalty joining us tonight. Oh yes, it's going to be a big one. We've got so much to get through. I've also got 6 fan videos that have been sent in, that international. And also Brian, that was going to come on tonight but couldn't make it because of a family thing. We're going to be talking about the game, of course, at the weekend, Wolves versus Newcastle. And we're going to be asking the question, when are Wolves going to win next? But aside from that, as a bit of fun, outside of all the other bits and pieces, we're going to be asking each of our pundits their favourite ever Wolves victory, because we've been starved a lot of it. So we have literally got Always Wolves royalty in the green room. I'm going to bring on, first of all, Mr. Manny. How you doing, sir?
How you doing? Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Manny. How are you?
I'm okay, mate. I'm okay. Starved of points, obviously, like everyone else, but doing fine, thank you.
Fantastic. Now, look, mate, before we get started on this, brilliant that you were a part of Jeevan and Satnam were part of the Always Wolves FC team at the Content Creators Cup, which we've just gone over £8,000.
Amazing, mate. Raised. Absolutely brilliant. That is unreal, effort by, you, Emma, and the rest, everybody else, all the teams, everyone coming together. It's what we need. We need events that bring lots and lots of people together. So well done, everybody who played a part in that
Absolutely. Day. And Neil, this is Neil. He bid £599 for the signed shirt. He travelled up from Somerset today to go and collect it. So Neil and your wife Tina, I know you watch a lot. Thanks for that, mate, and enjoy that. So we've gone over £8,000, but there is another charity event that is coming up very, very soon. And mate, it's another one of your mad hair-burn screens. You've decided, yeah, let's fight. I'm not going to walk to Chelsea or Newcastle and have a bit of sleep. I'm just going to walk around Molineux for 48 hours without any sleep. I mean, I don't know how you're going to keep. I say every year how you're going to top it, but come on, man, tell us a bit more about that.
The hardest thing might be staying awake for the football afterwards. No, so yeah, next home game, which is Liverpool, 5:30 kick-off on Saturday evening. So 48 hours before that, at 4:30 on the Thursday, we'll set out outside Molineux and start walking around doing laps of the.
Are you going all the way around the same way, or are you going to mix it up and go?
Yeah, I'll have to, mate. I'll get bored, won't I? So
you'll turn into a goldfish.
I will. So 48 hours. I'm not allowed to sleep. I don't really want to stop. I want to eat on the walk. I've got a toilet to use, like if I need to use it, but I just want to keep going. And the reason for doing this was I had so many people message me over the last 2 walks about joining in, about playing a part, about coming out to encourage. And when you're walking, to London or Newcastle, then it's pretty hard to find and meet up with people. So this will give a chance for anybody to come out for a couple of laps, just come and have a chat. I've got people doing the whole night. I've got school kids coming with their teachers. I've got some wheelchair users who are coming from a special school. People from Yorkshire, Newcastle, London who are coming out. So it's unbelievable, the response, and it's just we'll turn it into a bit of a community event, you know, and it'll be by far, I think, the hardest thing I've ever done, because
well, mate, if you do fall asleep, at least you'll have someone there to wake you up, won't they?
yeah,
You
I know.
literally, you got to keep going.
Yeah, keep
so
going.
Look, how much? This is for Dementia UK again, yeah?
Yeah, for Dementia UK, you know, which we've been fundraising for many years now. So it'll be for that cause again. And you know, there's no real targets. We just carry on the link that's been, you know, going for a couple of years now, and just, you know, give what you can, share, try and help. 1 million people now live with the condition. It's gone up to 1 million. In Dementia UK, got 500 nurses now. Even when I started there, only had about 200. So they've got 500 nurses now, and they want 1,000 nurses by 2030. So that's their real aim. They've got 500 nurses now, and they want 1,000 nurses by 2030. So that's their real aim. They've got 500 nurses now. I'm just getting some feedback. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I think it's gone now.
Okay. I thought I was hearing myself. That's what's going to happen on the walk. I'm going to be hearing myself.
Mate, you're probably not wrong. You probably literally will. By the time you get to hit that 36 hours barrier, man, still going.
So, you know, I did think about 24 hours, and then I thought, well, I can do that. And then I thought, well, if I can do it, then it's not a challenge. Let's try something that I don't think, you know, is a little bit beyond maybe what I think I can do. But I just, you know, we're going to give it a go, and I'm sure we'll get lots and lots of support from people, which we already are. And you're already seeing messages pop up, you know, dementia affects 1 in 2 families now. 1 in 2 families knows somebody in their family tree that has lived with this condition or are living with this condition. We don't want anyone to be alone. So that's the mission, that somebody will have somebody at the end of a phone at least that you can talk to and get advice. How many laps? So Sarah, 1 lap is 1 kilometre. So I'm sticking to the footpath, the paved area of Molineux. I'm not walking the shortest, just to make it 1 kilometre. So it's 1 kilometre. If I walk like I walk to Newcastle, I'll probably do about 5 laps an hour. But for 48 hours, I can't see me keeping up 5 laps an hour. So, yeah. Are you standing in the South Bank? I might be bloody, I don't know. I might be horizontal by the time I'm on the terraces. But, you know, I think the adrenaline will just push you through and just you know, thank you to everyone that's donated already previously, in the past, and everyone that's already donating now, sharing the story. The more we share it, the more we tell people what Dementia UK do, and the more people can get helped. So
we'll make sure that we obviously promote it, share the link, try and pop down and see you, give you a bit of coverage on the day. Have you got, like, if you can pop the link in the chat, we can we can share that away. So literally, what is it, 9 more sleeps, literally, and then no sleep?
Yeah, 9 more sleeps after today, you know. And the funny thing is, because I'm starting at 4:30 in the afternoon, somehow I've got to be asleep during the daytime, which I think I'll be ended up like being awake for about 50 odd hours by the time probably longer than that by the time the match finishes. So, you know, it's into the unknown, but I'm sure we can, you know, all get together and you know, somehow finish and complete the challenge. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. But I know it's going to be hard. It's going to be painful. I've got doctors and foot doctors and massage people sort of on standby to keep me going just in case something does happen. But yeah, I've just popped the link on your WhatsApp, Dave. You can put it on. I can't seem to get on here. I don't know if I'm logged in or not.
Yeah, so, I'll grab that.
Thank you as always for covering it and supporting like you always do, and getting it out to the masses. I know people do know, but you know, sometimes fundraisers do promote fundraising, but that's exactly how it works. You know, we have to keep telling, keep drumming, and people still need reminding, and people do want to help, and they do want to donate, and they do want to make a difference. And this time they can join me, even if it's for a lap, and know that you've also played a part in the fundraising.
Yeah, well, you know what, we always try and support everything we can do. I mean, the channel's got quite a reach now, and anyone that tries to do anything really positive, it's really good to be able to highlight that. And we've always supported all your events, and we'll continue to do that. And mate, I just think you're a bit mad, but there you go.
Yeah, I'm a lot mad. I don't think I'm a bit mad.
I always think, what's he going to do next? But there you go.
Yeah.
So brilliant. So look, we'll talk a little bit more about that, obviously, over the next weekend, and the build up to that. But the link's in the description. We've just put it on the thing. We've got a bit more Always Wolves royalty coming on now. We have got Mr. Jason Guy, the Lord himself. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, living the dream. How are you, Dave?
I'm not too bad. Now, first of all, mate, I know that you've been wanting to come on for a little while, but you know, Olivia had some seizures this morning, but she's gone to the hospital, but she's back home, so that's good.
Yeah,
good news.
we had a bit of a nightmare today. I do love coming on here, Dave, and you know, the only reason I can't come on is normally due to you know, family commitments. But yeah, Olivia this morning had 5 seizures at school. She had to have an ambulance to hospital, and because Amy had to leave work. By the time she got to the school, Olivia was just leaving the ambulance. She had to follow the ambulance to the hospital, but they've confirmed it was a water infection that triggered the seizures, so she's back out now. So she's home, bless her. But yeah, it was a bit of a scary morning, to be honest.
Absolutely. And your next event, which is the George Ellacobi thing, is next Thursday, I think.
So we've got on this Thursday, we've got our golf day. That's supporting the usual charities plus Acorns Hospice, who do some brilliant respite care for Olivia. And next Thursday is, you're quite right, the George Ellacobi night. Strangely, I'll be running in, introducing it. Then I've been nominated as fundraiser of the year at the Express and Star Awards. So I'll go to Molineux for the awards, go and do that, and then come back to the Mount Hotel and finish the evening. So yeah, I am literally going to be in 2 places at once.
You've done that so many times. If anyone can do it, you can do it. You know, mate. Absolutely. Congratulations
on your kind words, guys, and thank you for your kind words in the chat.
Yeah, and congratulations for your nomination, mate. Much well done. Right. Next up is not called Cheerful for no reason. Like, I mean, there you go. You know, you can see on his little face. Hi, Cheerful Chris.
Hello.
And that was Chris. Bye.
How are you, mate?
I'm fine. I'm not doing any fundraising events, Dave, but I will be supporting both of these gentlemen, as I always do.
Oh, listen, Chris, you support everything. Can I just say, though, I'd love to see your wedding photos. Just to see if you ever smile.
Are you supposed to smile at your
Chris,
wedding?
You're Always Wolves royalty as well, mate. We wouldn't have it any other way without you, with your little smiley face. That's why we call you Cheerful Chris.
Chris Grumphrys.
I didn't have any photos at my wedding. It was too expensive.
They didn't have cameras back then, though, did they?
Right. Sorry, Mrs. Humphreys, for bringing that up.
It's going to be an interesting one. Next up, we have Always Wolves senior writer. You started to see him quite regularly on the show. We've got George. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, mate. Surviving. How are you?
I'm not too bad. Good to see you yesterday. Sitting just in front of us at the Molineux. You got had some food with you before the game. You know.
Yeah, mate. It's nice to have you shouting in my ear all game.
I know. Yeah. You got to cheer and shout at you, but yeah, no. We're going to be breaking it all down, and you're currently researching quite an in-depth article on Wolves number 10s, because Kuna changed from 12 to 10. You're doing some research on.
Yeah, I've put a little poll out. Who's your favourite number 10? So famously, I got a list off the internet that missed off Andy Much. I got a bit of backlash for that one. So
yeah, you took it. I don't know why it wasn't on that list that you took off. You'd think it'd be on there, wouldn't it? You know.
Yeah, I'm blaming the list.
Fantastic. And last but not least, proper Wolves, always Wolves royalty as well. We've got Sutty. How you doing, mate?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I think you've allowed him on before 9 o'clock. Bloody hell!
I know. I'm not splitting into two tonight. We're just going to do it all. Go now. Listen, guys, we've got nearly 300 of you already watching across the platforms, which is fantastic. If you're enjoying it, you know, smash a like. I do want to say, of course, before we get properly going, these guys are amazing. Creation Wolf, they did such an amazing job at the Content Creators Cup with creating a website for us to follow the scores, and so everyone there could be properly linked in. They literally fantastic in terms of online digital presence. Creationwolf.com, the link's in the description below. And you know, they're just really, really great people as well. So we're very, very grateful for that. Now, listen, we've got lots to go through tonight. We've got say 6 videos that have come in. We are going to be asking when a Wolves going to win again, man of the match. We will be asking each one of you guys on there, and then when we get to hit the chat, you'll because we haven't won a lot, we're going to talk about some your favourite Wolves ever victories. But we have got a few. We've got 6 video contributors tonight, so I'm going to start with 2, break it up 2 later on and 2 later on, but in no particular order, just to get us started. These are the first 2 that have sent in, and it is the first one's Dinny.
Hello, Wolves fans. Dinny here in Cork in Ireland. Frustrated. Oh, I guess there was no real surprises with the lineup. That's what you'd just about expect. Oh, Christ. Nice play in the first half. Nice bit of link-up play, link in the midfield and the attack. The defence looked pretty solid. Lamina took his goal well. Could have been another couple of goals as well, in fact. Pretty even first half. All things being equal, literally. I'm so annoyed. Yeah, second half. Then I think Wolves. A lot of posts, a bit more composure in around the box. I think Wolves could have been out of sight, you know. But, of course, like one of my IFR comrades said there, they're going to come at you. You're going to be under the cosh. And if you're going to let Fabian Scher shoot from distance, I know there was a big deflection and it's unlucky on Dawson and it's unlucky on the keeper, but you're going to let Fabian Scher have a shot. You're asking for trouble. And then minutes later, you leave Harvey Barnes have a shot from distance like that. Credit to the guy, lovely finish. But feck's sake, I think the masters of their own undoing. That Fabian Scher one. Mosquera gives such a terrible pass out of the defence that goes straight to Newcastle. It's a few, like it's like a phase or 2 later when they get the goal. But like, come on, Mosquera, man. Oh, stop trying to pass it and just hoof it. Oh, who was good? Oh, what's the guy that came on at the end? The new guy. Can't think of his name. I liked Andre. I liked Gomez by giving my man of the match to Lamina. A good captain's performance. Defensively, offensively, he got the goal. Carlos Forbes. I liked him as well. A tiny cameo at the end. But I liked his little trickety tricks. Out of 10. Sure, look, it was going to be 10 out of 10 if Wolves won. But because of the wastefulness and the not putting it in the net and the not closing down. Going to give it a 6. Peace and love all you Wolves fans. On to the next one. Whoa.
Hey Dave, David Neil Pulse here, coming to you from the big island of Hawaii, Mauna Kea volcano going on here. Well, that ruined my birthday weekend, didn't it? Where to start? I think we started a little shaky and nervous at the back. You know, Newcastle were on top at the beginning, and you were worried that if Newcastle got an early goal, they could fall apart pretty quickly. But we weathered the storm, and I think we grew into the game. I think we looked pretty good back end of the second half, of the first half, and got a really nice goal. And you know, we were looking pretty good. And then second half, we just seemed to lose. I don't know, lose the oomph. I think maybe the technical term. We had a few chances. You know, Larson hit the post. And you could tell we needed the second to give ourselves a bit of breathing room, because Newcastle were always likely to get a goal, and obviously, you know, you shake your head at both of those goals. The deflection, Johnson saves that every day without the deflection, putting it in the top corner, and then Harvey Barnes with a brilliant strike, curling from outside the post into the other top corner. I mean, yeah, he probably should have been closed down more and don't let a player like Barnes get a shot like that off. But you know, brilliant strike, you have to say. And all of a sudden, within the space of 5 minutes, we go from a nervy 1-0 lead to losing 2-1. And then we couldn't get back into it. Great save from Pope to deny Cunha. So we did push, we did try, but we couldn't quite get back into it. So, you know, 5 games in, 1 point on the board, not a great situation. We are playing okay. The defence seems to be a little more composed. Johnston scared the crap out of me today a few times with some of his playing out of the back, but hopefully that was just a bad day. So we need to get a couple of wins on the board, let's be honest. Get some points, move up the table, get away from relegation, and you know, get those relegation demons off our back. But you know, the longer it goes without a win, the more nervous you get, and Villa are up next, and they're no pushover these days. So you know, not a time to panic, I don't think, but you know, like I said, need to get a couple of wins, get some points on the board, and then we can, you know, we can maybe look forward to the rest of the season. So next up, Villa. I'll be in Chicago for the NBC Fan Fest with, we have about 200 Wolves fans registered for that. So that should be a good time, and hopefully, wouldn't it be great to get the first win of the season against the Villa, right? Fingers crossed. All right, mate. Talk to you soon. Bye.
So there we have the first of our video contributors tonight. So you guys, which one of you would like to open the batting tonight with your first points? Who wants to go kick it all off?
Go on, Jace.
Oh, go on then.
Go on then.
Right, because I'll start the cheerful, happy clapping, and then everybody can berate my comments. But I don't think it was all that bad. Look, it's a results business, so we know that. So we lost 2-1, right? But the actual performance itself, I can see a lot of positives. Firstly, I don't buy into this logic, or illogic, I should say, with people saying, oh, we're on a 14, 16 game losing streak going back to last season. Forget last season. Last season's different. Gary O'Neill's had a pre-season now. He's started to get his players in, but they've got to have time to gel. We've got to be completely honest. You know, we've had a tough start to the season, but we can only beat what's in front of us. It is difficult to see where the next win's coming from, but if you look at the performance levels of the players, I do think it's not going to be too long. I mean, just to go through the goals very quickly, our goals very well worked. It was good to see Strand Larson obviously making an assist. He has been linking up very well with Cunha. I think it was Gomez that started the move. Strand Larson put the ball across. Probably a little bit of fortune. It went through the Newcastle defender's legs. Gomez read it brilliantly on the basis that he knew Lamina was behind him. I mean, some of the pundits were saying, oh, he was quite lucky that he missed it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Gomez knew exactly where Lamina was. I think it was Merson. He was saying, oh, did he mean it? Didn't he mean it? I'm sure he meant it and all this. But anyway, so we go through. Gomez let it go, Lamina 1-0. And you know what? To go in 1-0 at half-time, that does... listen, I thought it was a great half, but you do worry because let's look at the second half against Chelsea. So we know Newcastle are going to come out, so we have got to set up better and stronger. And you know, you have got to question some of the in-game tactics that was used. But when you look at the goals, obviously Fabian Schär, great strike, and it was a good strike, but it has took a deflection, and if that hasn't hit Dawson, my money's on Johnson to save that 100%. I think Johnston's getting that. Excuse brigade's out. Now we've got to be realistic, and the second goal is worthy of winning any game. But Gary O'Neill said that they always show the wingers, show them on the outside. Harvey Barnes is a dangerous player. He cut straight on the inside, bang, top corner. But Who's the one tracking him? Who's the one trying to stop the shot? Doherty. Now, I know Semedo went off because of an injury. However, I don't think Doherty is the man to replace him. I don't know if he's got something on Gary O'Neill, but I can't understand after that performance against Burnley why Pedro Lima is not anywhere near that squad. Because Pedro Lima, for me, if he's going to play Andre after he flew all the way from South America twice, there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing Pedro Lima. As much as I love what Matt Doherty has done for the club, in my opinion now, I think he's done, right? And it's a big comment to make. He's not the Doherty we had under Nuno, you know. And I think he had a bit of a revival when he went out to Spain, but that's a lot slower league. Here, I think Premier League, I think it's curtains for him. You know, been a great player. Also, Gary O'Neill lost a couple of, and you can say I'm making excuses. The point I'm trying to get to is Gary O'Neill, he's had his pre-season, he's brought his players in, they need time to gel, and he's lost a couple of key players. So we've got to give him a bit of grace there. I'm as frustrated as anyone, you know, no wins in 4. It is frustrating, but you can see some positive play moving forward. We look a lot more attacking than we have done the last 2 seasons, definitely. So there is positives. We've got a stronger squad than we've had the last 2 seasons. We haven't got 15-year-olds on the bench doing their own work, right? We've got a much, much stronger squad. So I do believe things are going to change. And the lineup that he put out was the strongest lineup he could have possibly put out, in my opinion. If you look at that team, it was the strongest lineup. What is a positive? He's clearly going to keep this back 4. But if you look where this Andre was playing, just in front of the back 4. I mean, listen, if he keeps, I mean, he was just unbelievable. I mean, the stats come out on 40 passes, 100% success rate. To do that in the Premier League, you know, whether you've been playing in the Premier League for 10 years, is an unbelievable feat, let alone your first full start in the Premier League. Let me tell you something, he's going to be a great player. Where he was playing as well, just in front of the back 4, that allowed Lamina and Gomez to get forward. Hence, that goal got created. Now, another point, you look at the goals that Newcastle scored. We actually resorted them to shooting from long range. And, you know, in the end, I suppose it played into their hands. But equally, we've got to be shooting from long range. Bellegarde got a goal the other day, last week, in the away game. And I think it's important that we too, you know, if we've got a chance on goal, have a crack on goal, 20, 30 yards, we've got to do it. We, you know, not walking it into the net, not playing all this, you know, yes, we're playing some attacking football, but I don't think we can be afraid to shoot. I don't think it's as bad as the scoreline suggests. Realistically, and I'll put this on social media, I do think on balance, we were the stronger team. But listen, you know, it's a results business and we didn't get a result on Saturday.
Fantastic. Who wants to come in and follow that up? Chris, careful. Your second then.
So, thanks for that, Jason.
You're welcome.
Get a move on, Chris. I got a bed to bloody go to.
I'm trying to be constructive, Manny. I'm trying to be constructive. So, yeah, thanks, mate. You're right in some aspects. I don't think I could say that any of the players that came out on the pitch at any time, including Doherty, played a particularly bad game on against Newcastle. Where I'm not happy, I'm never happy. We haven't addressed the momentum in the game. We haven't addressed the fact that we've got international players that have travelled long distance. Our entire midfield was sat there and you know, after 60 minutes we're jaded. Semedo was hobbling around for the last 25 minutes before he went off. We need to make changes. The manager has spent all last year telling us, bemoaning the fact that he's got 15-year-olds that he's pulled out of school to play a game and he's got nothing on the bench, and proceeds to then allow Newcastle to gain a footing in the game. He doesn't change it. He lets momentum build. And then he changed it when we let the goal in. and it's just too late. He's got to react. We should have put a back five on there. We were 1-0 up and shut up shop. And if we'd have done that, that Barnes goal would never have happened because the third centre half would have stepped in as soon as he come inside Doherty. But we just don't seem to be proactive with our substitutions. We don't try and affect the game. We let the game affect our substitutions. And I'm really starting to question the manager's mentality. He said something in the press after the game about something ludicrous. I'm fuming about it. That if you look at
Newcastle finishing above us.
Well, look, Newcastle are going to finish above us. We're not really playing against them in the league this year. If you look at our games so far,
Defeated.
We've only really played Forest, who've been around us, and we're unbeaten. He actually said we're unbeaten. What planet is he on? We've lost. It's just, I can't understand it. Yes, we do against Forest, but what sort of mentality is that? It's just. I'm bemused by it. I thought the game in itself we played really well, but it was 60 minutes, and after that we were done. And we could have tried to stifle that. I thought Larson played really well. Andre was superb, but he's come back from Newcastle, ripped their Brazilian players off. Are fine.
Absolutely. So who wants to follow up on Chris? Who wants to come in next?
Can I just mention the subs, Dave? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you
so
go next.
Three out of the 4 games in the Premier League, we've pre-planned the first 2 subs. We've pre-planned them against Arsenal, against Nottingham Forest, and against Newcastle. It happened last year, and when you see Wolves' first 11 warming up, they take 2 of the subs to warm up with the first 11, and the 2 subs they used were Hwang and Doyle. And I said to my sons, Hwang and Doyle are the first 2 substitutions. It happened against Forest. It happened against Newcastle. We knew those 2 would be brought on. I can't see how you can always play that way, where the 2 expected substitutes that you think that you're going to bring on first, you warm up with the first 11. Surely you've got to have a look at the game and the way the game's going and the pattern and what we need at the time. We were crying out for a little bit of ball carrying width. When you're under the cosh, you give it to someone and he carries the ball forward like Adama used to, like Neto used to, and get us further up the pitch. And Hwang has played his best football for us when he scored goals in a central position, and we've brought him into that position, and he's never going to carry the ball forward.
Must admit, me and Emma said like Wang because he was terrible against Forest. So why didn't you bring Sarabia on or someone like that?
So not even if you got Rodrigo Gomez, not Ricardo Gomez. Rodrigo Gomez. Rodrigo Gomez, and you got this new man Forbes. They are going to stretch the game. As soon as Forbes comes on, we're suddenly stretching the game again, but we're 2-1 down. We've that's too late. And Chris says, this is more and more a squad game because you can make 5 changes. So literally, you can change half of your side. So you freshen up half of your side, not just 2 players, half your team. And Newcastle went for it. They saw halftime and thought, right, we're going to make a positive change. And they affected the game. We waited. And then the 2 substitutions we brought on, they weren't going to impact us positively. And it was only when we went 2-1 down and when we tried again, we had a little bit of so that was really poor. And I just question why he's got this. You go to the next game. If you get in early, watch the Wolves players warm up and have a look at the 2 extra players that warm up with the 11 and have a look, see if they come on. 3 out of the 4 games, they've come on first. So he pre-plans the first 2 changes. You can't do that in a game of football. You have to look at the way the game's going. And that's what I'm questioning, because for 65 minutes, we were up. We played well. I thought we weathered the storm. Of course, you're going to get a storm. This is Newcastle. You know, they've finished up there. They've spent a lot of money. You're going to get a storm off them. We weathered it. We kept them out to, you know, some... Johnson didn't really have, you know, brilliant saves to make or anything. So we kept them out, and we just needed that extra impetus then. And you could see when they did score that those 5 minutes preceding, they were onto us, weren't they?
It was coming, man. It was coming. We were going deeper and
the
deeper.
2 players you don't let shoot on that team is Fabian Schär and Harvey Barnes. They both got a shot on them, and we showed both of them their strongest side and their strong. And like Jason says, when you have a shot and if you got quality like they had, then you're gonna be in trouble, because they did have a couple of shots before that. They just went over the bar, you know, a couple of times. So they warned us. They had a couple of shots, and we just didn't learn from it. So, you know, yeah, Andre was a great debut. You know, what can you say about him? And but we've just got to learn to use that bench. We've got a bench now. We've got all these stars that can't even get in. Lima's not even on the bench. You know, Sarabia, you've just mentioned. You got Gomez. You got all these players on the bench, and yet we put on Hwang, where Hwang's the kind of person you put on if you took Strand Larsen on and you throw him up front. You know, that's where he plays better. He doesn't play very well on the wing. He never has. So I really question those changes. That game was there to be won. It was there to be won after weathering that storm early on. And then, you know, the way we got into the game. And we got a phobia for keeping clean sheets as well, it seems.
So we've got another little point about the substitutions I didn't mention, but 80 minutes, Nori goes down injured. We bring Lamina to left back. Why have we not got Hugo Bueno to put on the pitch? I cannot understand the logic behind it. We've got nobody to play there.
Well, I suppose they're relying on Totti Gomez, aren't they? They're thinking that Totti's a left back as well. I wouldn't have let Hugo Bueno go out on loan. No way, because Ain't Nori's not going to do a full season.
George, is it fair to say, George, I mean, on the substitutions, I think that, yeah, you can talk about the run that we're on, 1 win in 14. You can make excuses. Oh, George doesn't want to answer that question. We can make excuses. There is, when I say excuses, there's arguments about last year, obviously different season, you know, lots of injuries. So you kind of like, he gets kind of a pass for that. And obviously it's a difficult start to the season because basically we complained about VAR, so they managed to get us the most difficult start of anyone. And I think he is back. But I think that's the thing. But and I think the Hugo Bueno thing is a fair point as well, because like he is a left back and he's gone away. But like you're going to need an area that we're stacked forwards this year. We're stacked in midfield really, but like defensively, especially on the full back areas, weak area. George, but I can't remember if you said you were quite happy for Hugo Bueno to go out or not. I can't remember. Or was it Lewis that said that? I can't remember.
I'm freezing a bit.
You're cold.
I hate that move. I'm categorically against Hugo going on loan.
Yeah.
He should still be here. He's a great option. It's ridiculous.
So that's a mistake for you. I mean, I'm going to come to you in a bit, Sutty, last on this one. All the stuff that you've heard so far, George, what do you want to come in and add to?
Well, just on the you know, Jace was saying earlier, I don't know if my internet's lagging a little bit, but he mentioned, look, the wins will come, and I think Gary said the same. But what worries me was his comments. Yeah, was his comments that he made that Chris mentioned.
What comment are you referring to?
The Newcastle, you know, that we're in some kind of mini league, and that the Newcastle title will definitely finish above us. We were on par with Newcastle in March last season. There's no reason whatsoever to be writing be writing us off as way below Newcastle at this point in the season. And that's a problem for me because, okay, the wins will come, but if that's the mentality, yeah, coming from the top, look at the games we've got coming up: Villa away, Liverpool, Brentford away, City, Brighton away. If that's the attitude, then you can write off those games as well. And then all of a sudden, you're in November and you could be sitting on 2 points. And at that point, a quarter of the way through the season, 9 games, who's to say that the rot hasn't set in then? And then look at the pressure that you're putting on what we'd call winnable games. You know what I mean? You can think these things, but you don't say them. Don't say it, you know, because those winnable games, then you've only got to have a little slip up, lose 1 or 2 of those, and look at the position you'll be in. I think those comments were really badly misplaced, to be honest. And it's the first real misstep because I think a lot of the time, now I like Gary. I think he's a decent manager, but I think he's got to really tighten us up. I think people are moaning about this 1 in 14 wins. And yeah, like Jay said, whether we bring it into last season or not sure. I don't see too much wrong with doing that, but I get the argument that Jay said. But what really bothers me is I had a little look today.
You had a little look.
I've frozen his internet. Disagreed with me.
Jeff's
George,
Jeff's Gary's time. We've never looked defensively set.
He's been chopped. He's been George. We lost you for a second there. Can you carry on?
Chopped off. Inset's playing up.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. We've never looked. We've never looked defensively sound.
Yeah,
but, I don't know if I'm coming through or not, but go on. I think Andre kind of answers the 4 at the back issue because I think he solves that problem for me. Like I said to you when we was watching the game, he's like he plays that 5 yards further forward than Cody, but he's like Cody on steroids. That's how I saw it, and he just completely allowed Nori to look so much more comfortable. Let Lemire and Gomez a bit more. He looked fantastic. I'll stop because my internet keeps playing up. I'll hand over to someone else. But
okay,
yeah,
well, I'll just
come in and I'm going to questions for us. But yeah,
I'm going to come in and then I'm going to hand over to Sooty. Look, I think the points that have been made about I mean, Gary O'Neill, you know, he's a likeable manager. You know, he gets passes at the moment because of the situation from last year and this year. But like the thing that I don't like, and it was a bit like when Jeff came out and said, like, if you want to support Wolves and win things, then maybe that's the club. I mean, not for you. They do their jobs and whatever. But that when you got lacking of ambition, that's what really gets me. And he said something similar. Gary did in the press conference. We might upset a few people. It's like you know, we're Wolverhampton Wanderers. We're founder members of the Football League. Yeah, okay. We haven't got the big budgets, but like we can't have this small team mentality that we've done great if we beat someone. We need to go into every single game. It don't care whether it's against Manchester City, Liverpool, Villa, Brighton, you know, Newcastle or Arsenal. We should go into those games thinking we can beat these and go and beat them. You know, we can't be like,
and we have beaten them all in this Premier League era. We've beaten them all.
Exactly, and we can do it. But if we go into every game with the mentality that like, oh well, we might do, then you're not going to, and that's what frustrates me. That mentality has got to go. It's like not we might beat them. We're going to try and beat. We're going to beat them because you're setting yourself up you're raising that bar down for the expectation, and if you do that and you fall below that, then you're in trouble. Sooty.
Well, good evening, everyone. Yesterday's game, first 15 minutes, I thought Newcastle were the more threatening side, Dave. Then for 60 minutes, we were most definitely the most threatening side. Now, I'm going to defend a little bit, but also criticise our manager. He cannot be held responsible for not being clinical with gilt-edged chances. You have to be ruthless in this game, Dave. And those chances were absolutely gilt-edged. I mean, when we were kicking into the South Bank goal, I'm right behind the goal, Dave. I reckon I could have put 2 of them in. It's honestly, it's so basic. You have to hit the onion bag. You have to.
That day?
And they didn't. So you can't blame him for that. You can blame him, Dave, for not being proactive. Newcastle made 3 substitutions all in one hit yesterday.
At the half time, but yeah, made
Eddie Howe out-coached O'Neill yesterday. He sorted it out and they looked a different side then. We know what Harvey Barnes will do. He'll cut in from the left, put it on his right foot, and we've got Donkey Doc at the back. Now, Doc was great 6 years ago. Doc's finished. It's got to stop. We've got a young lad coming from Brazil. He may be a wing back. Doc's a wing back playing fullback. The kid from Brazil's fast. He'll close him down. Doc must be nowhere near this team. Doc must have some uncompromising photographs of Gary O'Neill and his missus. He must have, because he shouldn't be anywhere near that team, right? The young kid should be given his chance. If Semedo ain't playing, the young kid should be playing. So there's a couple of rants to start with. It is a squad game, and you've got to use your squad. And as we've said, our first team, our first 11, is not better this season. It is not better. But our squad is much better. So you must use your substitutions. I mean, again, we're putting round pegs in square holes, putting Hwang on the left, when we've got a winger in Rodrigo Gomez sat on the bench. Why on earth are you playing Hwang on the left? Now, the only thing that I can think is me being quite cynical, is that he has to play so many minutes. Shirt sales, Dave. We know all about shirt sales, Dave. You like a shirt yourself. So it really, really, Dave, is starting to cheese me off a little bit. Now, I said I'd make judgment after 10 games, and I wouldn't bring last season into it. And I do not blame Gary O'Neill for the end of last season. That's solely down to an ownership model that didn't want to spend any money or get any loans in January. But 1 win in 14, or if you look at it like this, 6 points from a possible 51.
We lost simply 6 out the last 7 at Molineux. 4 wins this year.
It's simply that it's not good enough. So he will not get to 10 games if we play like this. Now, the next 5 or 6 games are just as hard as the ones we've just had. So unless he starts to use the tools he's got in the correct manner and stop being stubborn, he will be signing his own P45. He'll be gone. Now he's okay. We looked better yesterday in a back 4. That's the best we've looked, but we were still opened up like a can of worms at times. It's not solid. It's not playing to our strengths. It's not letting these wing backs flourish and becoming attacking players. And there's only one person who can actually sort that out, and that's their head coach. Now, I'm not saying I want our head coach sacked. Not saying that at all. But he's got to start to look at his own performances as well, Dave, because he's simply not good enough at the moment, mate. And don't think for 1 minute that we're going to go out there and get another Lopetegui come Christmas if we're sat on single figures at the beginning of December, because there ain't none out there, Dave. I can tell you exactly where we'll be going if we get rid of this manager, and that will be to Luton Town to get somebody like Rob Edwards, because he's the poster boy of Wolverhampton Wanderers still, believe it or not. And that's the shop window that these owners will look in. I bring it up every week. they still have to be scrutinised every single week for the way that they run our club and the tools they give to the manager that he's asked for to play a back four. If he was given the correct tools, he hasn't been given the correct tools, and it's almost like it's a standoff at the moment. You haven't given me what I wanted. Up yours. I'm going to still play my system, and if it fails, I get paid off. I ain't bothered. And that's how it seems to me. It was more positive yesterday, but my God, Dave, we are becoming very, very Everton-y. And as soon as we concede, you can see the energy just drain out of them. And I'll give you an example. I watched the Villa the other night. They went 2-0 down. I knew damn well that they would still win because they go all out attack if they go behind. We shit ourselves, Dave. We are, at the moment, a bunch of shit houses, and we ain't capable of digging ourselves out of a hole. You could see them as soon as they conceded. Cunha, I love Cunha. He just stood there, his head dropped and his hands on his hips, just saying, no, we're doomed. And we were. I knew damn well if we conceded, we would lose. They went on the up. They just thought, all out attack, these lot are cracking here. And we cracked in a big way. And we weren't coming back from it.
Saying that, though, yeah, I think we all felt the same because we're conceding goals in quick succession as well. When it happens, we conceded one and conceded another one very quickly after. But like I think Manny said, Forbes came on. Cunha, I mean, Pope makes a worldie to keep it at 2-2. You know, Cunha's head didn't drop. He was still trying to go, but you could see like when we went behind, yeah, it was a bit of a sucker punch. George, you wanted to come in and make a comment there?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say on that point about I don't know how much Gary O'Neill truly or any Wolves manager since Nuno sort of went head to head with the board. Has any Wolves manager truly, apart from when they went all out with Lopetegui in January, had any say over who's bought in and who goes? I think that O'Neill's been told, he said, this is how I want to play. And they've said, you get who you get and you work with it. And that point you made about him turning around and saying, I'm going to carry on playing like that, up yours. I don't actually think O'Neill's got that kind of gravitas or reputation about him to be able to afford to do that. I think he's Lopetegui did, but I think O'Neill's a little bit more of a yes man. And I think that comes across in his interviews. He very much wants to stay on the right side of Hobbs and the board. For me, that's how I'm seeing it. And he's doing his best to make it work, but he can't play his own philosophies. But honestly, I think he's a young coach. I'm not even sure he's 100% what his own philosophies are. And so I don't think the board will back him, really. And I think that's how they want it. Hence, they brought in an inexperienced coach, which that could end up being a pretty bad sort of cycle for us if things start to go wrong, to be honest, because who's standing up and taking accountability? Because there's a couple of people within the club that I think lots of fans would say we can't rely on them to step up and take responsibility when we need it. And I think that's why a lot of people love Nuno so much, because I was talking to you, Dave, about this. He put interest to the club first, didn't he? And he was a safe pair of hands, and we trusted him. I think Gary's got to make a decision soon in terms of, look, am I going to start speaking straight facts to the fans and get them on side? Or am I going to keep trying to keep the narrative sweet, keep my job safe, and say what Jeff and Matt want me to say? Because I think that's what he's toying with at the minute. I'll let you come in, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, just
that,
Dave,
just quickly. No, and I'm not having a go at you here, George.
No,
Even Nuno didn't come out publicly and slate the ownership. What Nuno did, you see him progressively, his mood changed. He was spiky with the press. He didn't really want to speak to anybody. And that's generally what happens. The only one that has come out and publicly slated she and the ownership was Lopetegui. There ain't going to be another Lopetegui if this doesn't work out. Now, I sincerely hope that Gary O'Neill turns this around, sees wisdom and puts round pegs in round holes and drags us out of this. But my big concern here is with this, yesterday was there for the taking. We bottled it, and bottling it becomes a habit, just as winning becomes a habit. Now, we can say, oh, we've got a lot more easier games coming up. When you ain't got no form and you're losing all the time, those deemed easy games are worse because there's more pressure on them than there is playing your Villas, your Liverpools, Arsenals, Chelsea's. It's a lot worse. And I'll tell you now, we'll bottle them. The body language is terrible as soon as we concede. It is terrible. And we ain't got loads of goals in us still. It just ain't going to happen. So we've got to book up, not just the manager, these players have all got to look at themselves in that changing room and start to say, we've got to start putting teams to the sword here, irrelevant who they are. You get a one-on-one chance, you bang it in. If you don't whinge. It's down to you personally. They've all got to stand up and be counted. It's not just on the manager. It's down on the squad as well.
Yeah, I think Lamina came out today, didn't he, and said, we've got to lose this kind of losing mentality. But just to add on to that, what Sutty's just said,
George, finish you, and I want to George. Just finish what you were going to say. Jason wants to come in, I think. Then Manny.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just going to say this idea that we can't. I think we feel we can't hold on to a lead, and I think that comes from 5 clean sheets in the whole of Gary O'Neill's reign so far. Lopetegui had 23 games and got 7 clean sheets in that time. So we need to get the basics right first. If we feel we're a solid team, then you've only got to score 1 or 2 goals. But I think we've got that worry that, look, are we doing the basics? So, and I think it comes down to clean sheets and defence, to be honest. But
Jason.
Oh, just on the point, really, of I think there's a real reliance now on Matt Hobbs as well, and he plays a massive role at the club. So years ago, your managers would make, and choose all your signings, and it's not done that way anymore now. So that's why the head coaches, because they are literally training ground tactics, pick the team. So Matt Hobbs is the pivotal one, bringing the players in. And listen, we can't cast any stones at him because Matt Hobbs has done a brilliant job. He's brought some fantastic players in. His hands are tied to a certain degree. But Gary O'Neill, once again, he's got a culpability. What I will say is we've started off even the Chelsea game. The last 25 minutes of the first half in the Chelsea game, I thought we was going to win that game. After the first half against Newcastle, I thought we was going to win that game. Under Nuno, and I've stressed this point before, under Nuno, second half, and I've seen Forest doing it the other day, second half when they're coming out onto the pitch, they do a full warm-up at the side of the pitch, and they're ready for the second half. Our players come sauntering out, and it's not good enough, because at this level, they've got to be ready. And why is it second half of these last two home games, not counting the Burnley game, the last 2 home Premier League games, we have literally, to want of a better expression, fell apart in the second half. Chelsea was just ridiculous. Newcastle wasn't that bad, but I don't think that we've got that. I don't think we're setting up right in the second half. I think there's something lacking. I just think at the start of the second half we should be warming up on the side of the pitch as we used to do under Nuno. And I think Newcastle, but someone actually said to me that they saw Newcastle doing it. And I think it's so important to make sure you're ready for that second half, because this is when we're losing games.
We need to start both halves too slow, in my opinion. Manny,
after the 2 7th placed finishes, which were, let's be honest, they were beyond our expectations at that time. We have become like 12th to 17th FC. That's what we've become in our mentality from right at the top, from the ownership, but now suddenly feeding from comments that we're even hearing that Gary's made. It's almost like, I know where my club is. My club is in this section, and I'm afraid we can't really compete with the higher section because we are there. And all I see is Wolves, even if they pick up a couple of wins, if they start struggling, and if they start flirting with relegation come Christmas, it'll be, let's quickly throw a bit of money in January to keep our Premier League status by hook or by crook, a bit like they did in the Lopetegui season. And that's the thing, when you start with that type of expectation, you know, and you start talking about, if you think of what Lamina said today about we need to lose this mentality, he just had a go at his manager, because his manager yesterday said
he's absolutely right, though, isn't he?
He is right, but that can't. That's your captain and manager. They've got to be on the same page. They've got to be saying we were toe to toe with Newcastle. We were outplayed. We weren't overpowered. We were toe to toe, but we couldn't do what we needed just to get that win. They could, and that's that becomes your mentality, that we are going to win this match. Now, if you're saying, "Oh, well, we're not going to finish above them," and then your captain's coming out the next day and saying, "We've got to lose this mentality," actually, you need to speak to each other, Mr. O'Neill and Lamina, and say, you know, it doesn't matter about the matches. You know, there's so much being made out of our start. Every game in the Premier League is tough. We've beaten Man City, we've beaten Liverpool before, we've beaten, you know, Chelsea and Arsenal. We've beaten these teams before.
Beat Chelsea 3 times in a row.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter who you're playing. Every single game. Let's be honest. Last season we started really poorly, and then it was this amazing result against Man City that actually turned Gary O'Neill's fortunes around, and we went on a little bit of run that secured us our Premier League status, and then we faded. And it was totally out of the blue. Nobody expected us to beat Man City.
Well, we'd just come off that loss to Ipswich in the Carabao.
Yeah, we were calling for his head after that. That was a horrific defeat, and we thought, this guy can't do it. And then the Saturday, we beat City. So this is what we've got to say. It doesn't matter. I don't care if it's Liverpool. I don't care if it's Villa away. You've got to go into these games thinking, you know, we can win. Why can't we win? If we... You know, and if we start saying, well, we haven't got, well, we're not, they're better than us, they're going to... What are you doing? You don't, you can't. That's like me, that's like us doing one of our fundraisers and saying, well, I'm going to do it, but I know I'm not really going to finish. And well, you might as well not turn up.
The culture set from the top of the club, and if that culture, it's got to filter down, but it won't filter down.
That's what I'm saying. His comments, Gary O'Neill's comments still seem to be that aftertaste of, I didn't get the players I wanted. I wanted to play a back four. They didn't really back me. We're not going to finish above Newcastle. And it's keeping that drone going of this like low time mentality, isn't it? And we've got to throw that in the bin.
Why Gary O'Neill was the appointment for the club. You know, that's probably why he was the first choice appointment, because is he a bit of a yes man?
To be honest, mate, I mean, Gary O'Neill, you know, he was thrown in the deep end. He's got a lot of credit in the bank for what he did last year. And like against Newcastle at the weekend, we played some good football. We really did play some good football. We have not got a killer instinct in this team. We had them on the ropes. They were there for the taking, and we didn't finish it. And Manny, we've said this many, many times. Okay, they had a lucky goal. It was deflected. They had a shot. If we've scored 2 or 3, it don't matter. We're still 2 or 3-1 up, and they get a lucky goal. But then they get the goal, and then a goals change game, and then all of a sudden we're on the back foot. And we did come back, and we have, maybe we're not having the luck, but when you're on a bad run, luck don't go against your way. We need to win a game somehow in the Premier League. I'm not talking about the Carabao or the Cup. Somehow we need to win a match. However we do it, we need to win this game, and we need to win the game against Villa. And it's not going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. But we can't go into that game thinking we're playing Villa. They're a Champions League team. Oh wow, we've got, if we get we need to go in and believe we can do it.
That's exactly the opposite of what Gary's done.
Dave, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can I ask? Okay, so I'm going to go through these fixtures with you now coming up, right? And you tell me win, lose, or draw. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
mate,
7.
You've got to go in the mentality of you've got to win every game. You've got to believe it. If
we're going to get 21 points. Okay, we're going to get 21 points for the next 7 games then. That's fine. That's all I wanted to know.
It would be nice. Obviously, realistically, that's not going to happen. But you've got to take each game on its own. And you've got to believe it.
Let's see where they're coming from. Listen, I'm in Gary O'Neill's camp here. So Villa Wolves, win, lose, or draw?
What's the guys?
Win, lose, or draw, guys?
Lose.
No, we're going to win that game.
Oh, I can help you,
Okay,
Jason.
fine.
I
That's
don't
great,
think-
Dave. Okay,
Jason, I don't
Liverpool
think
at
we're
home.
gonna win
Just
against
go through six
Southampton.
fixtures. Liverpool at home.
Lose.
Mate, Liverpool at home is a game that if we was ever to win it, you win it ugly. You're not going to out football them. You've got to win it ugly. And I haven't seen Gary win enough games ugly.
Yeah, there you go.
So
Brentford
I
away.
can't see a win.
Brentford away.
We always have a good record against Brentford, so we could probably win that.
Draw.
There's huge pressure on that game. There's huge.
There is a lot, and there is. This is why we need to get a win before it.
Man City at home.
Well, we always beat them at home, don't we? Come on.
Brighton away. Brighton away.
Oh, we might lose that one.
Lose.
I think you've
got
a 0-0.
So far, we've got a point. Palace at home.
We might win that one.
We've got to be winning that one.
Team now, Palace. Bit of a bogey team.
And then obviously Southampton at home. So, you know, how confident are we? Really?
It's not. It's about belief more than confidence.
You know what? I don't look at. You can't look at fixtures like that. If you went like that, obviously you'd say we're not going to beat Man City. We're not going to beat Liverpool. But we did beat Man City last season. We did beat them, mate. They won the Champions. They won the Premier League, but we did beat them, possibly with a worse side at that time. Because we were on a real dreadful run, you know. Gary took over.
I just can't see how our defence, even with Craig Dawson, I can't see how our defence can stop players like Haaland.
It depends on the formation. He might
not in a 4
back 5.
We go to a 5. If we go to a 5, we'll go up that division. If he keeps being stubborn, playing a 4, forget all this hybrid bullshit. If he starts playing as a 5, we'll go up. If he doesn't, get ready.
I didn't see a problem with the back 4 yesterday.
Yeah, but Dave, I'm
for the 5
it's
as
a
well.
consistent pattern, Dave.
100%.
That just keeps happening.
I agree. I do agree to a point, but the back 4 wasn't the problem yesterday. We played with the back 4. He put Andre in front. He is unbelievable, that lad. I mean, something like 100% completed passes and tackles in a game. His debut. Have you ever seen a derby that good? He was brilliant.
Andre was great yesterday, but Matt Hobbs had a job to do in the summer. He needed to buy fullbacks and central defenders, and he's come back and bought a wonderful midfielder from Brazil. We didn't need that. What we needed is defenders. Yes, I'm glad we got in, and I'm glad he can screen in front of the back 4. But if you're screening people who aren't very good, you may as well play a back 5.
You know what? I fully agree. You know, Ryan Ait-Nouri, let's discuss him. Ait-Nouri last year was frightening the league, wasn't he? He was frightening the league with his pace and his forward running. And now he's subdued because he's playing in a back 4 and he's having to do responsibility. And he's really hanging on, last-ditch tackles, trying to play that position. And his real strength is further forward with a back 5. We release some of our fullbacks who are naturally better. You know, even Doherty, and we know he's slow, but he's still better as a wing back than he is a fullback. Smado's better as a wing back. We know Ait-Nouri's better as a wing back, and Pedro Lima will definitely be better as a wing back because it's just a natural game for the fullbacks we have. And we have to look at the strength of our players, not that I want to play this system. You have to look at your team and think, my team actually suit this system, and that's how we should.
Can I just say? Let's say we go to a 5, yeah? Let's say we go for this 5. Obviously, we know Andre's been brought in. We know Lamina and Gomez are going to start. So if we're going to go back to a 5, which if times get desperate, I think we still will, it's going to be a 5-3-2, isn't it? And it's going to be Larson and Cunha up front as the 2, isn't it? And then we're going to stick with that 3 midfield. But then all of a sudden that does look very defensive, doesn't it? With only Larson and Cunha up front. But I think that's how we're going to go, that 5-3-2, which I think Nuno kind of went with that with Jota and Jimenez at points, didn't he? And you need your wing-backs flying. But we'd have Totti Gomez, maybe Bueno, and Mascara or Dawson in there, but it'd be 5-3-2, I think, wouldn't it? Because he's not going to drop Andre Gomez or Lamina, is he? So it's not going to be that 5-2-3-1 or whatever it is.
You're gaining two attackers, George. You're gaining two attackers. You got two lads that will bomb forward at any given opportunity with cover of three at the back. So I don't buy into this. It's negative, or defensive. What it is it's solid, and we won't see the goals.
Our best football historically in the last few years is we look better when we counter-attacking anyway.
Yeah.
Well, our goal yesterday was like a back five goal, wasn't it? A classic back five goal.
5-3-2 then. Let's go for it. Yeah,
let's go.
5-3-2.
Gary now.
Well, just hold that thought, because
if you're watching, Gary, we all love you.
We're going to come back in a minute with man of the match, performance rating, and moment of the day. But this is a commercial break. Now we've got an offer for you, which is I'm really excited to bring you an amazing exclusive offer to Always Wolves subscribers with NordVPN, a product that I use myself as well. I'm going to tell you why I love it and why I think it'll be great for you. It's going to be less than a standard adult match ticket at Molineux. Like a lot of us, I do like to go abroad to get a little bit of sunshine and winter sun. And when you're abroad, you want to be able to watch, you know, in those down moments, some of your favourite shows, listen to your favourite podcasts. And literally at the click of a button on your phone, your app or your computer, you literally click that, and within seconds it goes green. It's so fast and so secure to connect. So if you like watching your Netflix or your Now TV and your football, click that and you can watch it wherever you are in the world. And I use it a lot when I'm out and about and having to connect to public Wi-Fi. Obviously, public Wi-Fi is not that secure, so by connecting to NordVPN, it keeps your data and your privacy absolutely safe. A lot of people might think, okay, yeah, it's X amount, you get one device. It doesn't just cover one device, it doesn't cover two, it doesn't cover 5, it doesn't cover 7, it covers 10 devices in your household. So that's your tablet, your phones, and there's an app that you can download to your TV as well. So multiple devices for multiple people is covered under this one plan. Up to 10 devices, insane. And with NordVPN, you get 24-hour support as well. So what is the offer? So the offer is 24 months at 74% off, pretty much less than a match ticket for one game at Molineux. We're throwing in an extra 4 months free, and you've got a 30-day money-back guarantee as well if you don't like it. The link is in the description below for you to click. Or if you're listening to this and you just want to log on, just go on to nordvpn.com/alwayswolves, or go on to the alwayswolves.co.uk website and you'll be able to get the link from there as well. As I say, it's something I use a lot all the time myself, so hopefully you guys will find it really useful and you don't mind me telling you about it. And it helps out the channel as well. Always Wolves. Fantastic. And I really genuinely do use that. Before we move on, I do want to give you... We've got some more reactions and the videos that we got sent in. So you'll recognise a couple of the other ones that are coming up now. So here we go with Jeff.
Hey, Dave, Wolfman Jeff here on the porch in Chattanooga. Just to give a quick review about the Newcastle match. Very frustrating to only have 1 point after 4 matches. That's probably the biggest takeaway, and I think that's what people are most upset about, is the result. Second half, it was one of those matches that we've had so many of where it's a tale of two halves. We had a good first half. I think we were the dominant first half. We played with a lot of good character. Newcastle, I think their goals they had some really good goals. I got to give it to them. And Pope had an amazing game. I guess the Pope was infallible, at least for today. But having said that, we had so many chances that just did not go through. We got to work on that finishing. Again, Pope did fantastic on stopping a lot of them, but we just got to keep pushing. I think the substitutions are, if I was going to complain about anything, I think some of the subs didn't quite make sense. I'm not sure why you pulled Semedo out. I don't think he was doing poor. But I understand. He wanted to mix it up, and I don't think those worked. Taken away, I know a lot of people are very upset right now. They're very frustrated and it's very hurt. and we're seeing where we are at number 18, and that's a very uncomfortable spot to be. But just a bit of, may tick some people off with this, but we're not as far off as league table shows us to be. We kept fighting. It didn't all work, and I get that. And I still think we're in a better position than we were a year or two ago, and where we would just drop our heads down and stop fighting. We have a lot of work to do, don't get me wrong, but we kept the fight, and we've got some awesome players. We just got to work these things out, and I think Gary O'Neill's still going to continue with that. Substitutions didn't make any sense, but outside of that, I think it was winnable up until the end, and luck wasn't our friend. Wolfman Jeff here on the porch in Chattanooga.
This is Chris for Eidsvoll in Norway, speaking after the latest defeat, this time over to Newcastle, and this is obviously it's a devastating blow to lose that game. Having, even in all honesty, played apart from the first 20 minutes reasonably well. I see signs in this team. I see things I like. But I am also a believer in, and anyone can challenge me on this, but when you lose a game of football, there are no positives. The game's lost, you've got no points, your day's ruined, your weekend's ruined, next week's going to be tough. The cloud hanging over you, there are no positives. We are at home, we're winning, and we are winning with 20 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go. We have to see out that game, or at least get a point. We cannot get beaten in that situation. And we did. We found a way to lose. We, looking at the team and the players we've got, and at times the way we play, I am tempted to say we'll be all right. But then again, we keep losing. And what is it now? 1 win in 14, if we count in the last season, which is possibly a bit unfair because, we basically didn't have any players at the end of last season. But the statistics are there. We can't keep losing games of football. You can also say that the start we've had, the fixtures we've had have been the hardest possible since the Premier League was started. Statistically, that is actually true. But again, we keep losing, don't we? And we can't continue to keep losing. Regardless of one or two things that might go well in a game, one or two things that you can hang yourself on that look okay. It doesn't matter. It's just about getting points on the board. It's about getting a win, and it's about not being down the bottom of the table, which is where we are. And it can't continue.
So yeah, thanks ever so much to Jeff and Chris. We still have videos from Noah and Brian to come a little bit later in the show.
Can I just say, Dave, was Chris upside down then? Because I looked at his stairs and it was like one of their optical illusion things. I think he recorded back upside down. And then I
think he needs to be called Cheerful Chris because he makes me look.
I was going to say, is he related to you, son?
Least we can have a laugh.
Incredible. I need a new name.
No, mate. He's honestly, I've seen him happy. He gets the tankard out and stuff like that. But he's taking no positive. Right.
And when you've only got 4 fly today in Norway, this is why he's so pissed off. Sorry.
Listen, we're going to go to man of the match performance rating and your moment of the day first. Who wants to go first on that? Go on then, Jason.
Man of the match. There was a few good performances for me. I think I've been very critical of this player, Mosquera. Yes, Mosquera. I've been very, very critical of him. I was watching him quite closely yesterday, and I do think there's a bit of a leader there as well. He talks to players. He listens. He looks comfortable in possession. He looks a lot more comfortable in possession than Totti Gomez. But I was a bit worried when he was playing with Totti, but since he's been playing with Dawson, I know it's only been a couple of games, he does look a much better player with Dawson alongside him, and I think that shows. So, but for me, the man of the match, Mosquera was a close second. Man of the match for me was Andre. I just thought to have a full debut like that, a Premier League start like that, was just incredible. His passing, his vision, and you could see how comfortable the players were in giving him the ball as well. And you know what? He was talking. He was finding space. And the players around him were so comfortable when giving him the ball. And even if there was players around him, he wasn't scared to have it. And that's such an important player to have. He doesn't hide. So Andre, for me, is man of the match. Performance rating. Once I said it wasn't overall such a bad performance, in my opinion. But we've lost the game at home 2-1. So I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. I do want to give it a 7, but we've lost. So we've got to be realistic. And the moment of the match for me was just watching Andre, because I think he's almost Neves-esque in how comfortable he's on the ball. You know, I don't think we're going to see the long-range world is from. I think he's a more deeper player, but I do think we've got a really special player there. So, man of the match, Andre, 6.5 out of 10 moment watching that new Brazilian that we didn't need.
Okay, Chris.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I probably would give it. I could go with a 6.5. I could go with a 7. I thought they played okay. They applied themselves well. I can't give it Mosquera. The wayward pass that eventually led to the goal, I think, was a bit of a black mark. Although his very, very marauding run where he overlapped and he went up the wing like a clappers, but then got the ball and realised he didn't quite know what to do. It was quite funny. That was a good moment. I think probably Jason's got it right. I think Andre was probably the man of the match. His close control, his ability to turn and drive forward with the ball was really good. I didn't see much of his tackling in the first 15 minutes. He didn't seem to quite know where he was playing, but he kind of got there, and he was very effective. I thought he was very good. So I probably agree with Jason on what he said.
I love you, Chris.
Okay, Manny.
Okay, player. You know what? I'm going to go for someone different because Andre, we know he was sensational. What a debut! You know, just looked like it was like a Champions League player had dropped onto the pitch for the day. It really was, because he was just looked out of place in our side for a little
Championship
bit.
next season at this rate.
I know. I was going to say, if we're bottom of the table, it'll be gone in January. Don't worry about that. No. So he did, but I'm going to go for Jorgen Strand Larsen. You know, I love a number 9. I love a proper centre forward. And watching it from the South Bank, when you watch it from the end, you know, Dave, you're closer to the action when it's on your side. And those Newcastle defenders, they were like the sigh of relief they were breathing when he was taken off. He just battled and it was just an old-fashioned, like, you know, even for our goalkeeper, it was an out ball. It was something that when you've got someone like him,
it down really well.
He did. He got better as the game went on. He got better, and even his shot that hit the post, it was one of those low, hard aim for the corner. It was a bit unlucky because that's the kind of like direct shooting you want, where somebody really like a snap, you know, goes for the corner, bottom, hard. And so I like the way he played. I just thought he got better. You know, he's had 2 home Premier League performances. He scored 1 and he's made 1. That's not a bad start for a striker. So I'm going to give it him. Andre, I think, was the best player on the pitch, but I'll give it to Strand Larsen. The performance, man, when you don't win a game, you know, up to 75 minutes, that's like a 7, 7.5, 8, even higher, because it was, you know, after losing 6-2 against Chelsea to come back to be beating Newcastle and beating them well, I thought, with having chances. But the way those goals went in and the way we've shown. Harvey Barnes, he always scores at Molineux. I think he scored about 3 or 4 goals there, and that's his side. He was like, his mouth was watering when he saw the fullback let him go on his favourite.
It was like more goals than Fabio Silva.
Yeah, probably. No, but so that brings it down to a 6 max for me. And it's so disappointing, and even lower when you hear what the comments came out after the match. We should just be, focusing on positive talk and saying we should be beating. I'm disappointed. We should have beaten them today. We went toe to toe. They're no better than what we had on the pitch, and we should have beaten them today. So that was moment. The moment. I think. I don't know. There wasn't really anything that really stood out for me. The only thing I was really disappointed with, and it needs to be mentioned, is second match of the season at Molineux, and we've got empty seats. Even when we was bottom of the league, Bruno Lage was bottom of the league. We struggled under, before we bought Lopetegui, but we still had full. We still had a full, stadium, and every seat was filled. And that's the legacy of this ownership that we had this summer, and the absolute horrific decisions that we haven't really addressed, and we've let them basically get away scot-free. There's no way Wolverhampton public are paying £56 to £71 to fill a stadium. We wiped out all our waiting list, you're right, with this decision we made, and it's big. That's a big decision, and that really, when you hear the opposition fans shouting empty seats, it's embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. Our crowd isn't, our stadium isn't even a big stadium. It's a small stadium compared to a lot of Premier League, and we, the founder members of the Football League, can't sell our own tickets for Newcastle at home, second match of the season. Embarrassing. And that's all on Jeff Shee and our owners.
Mate, I think it's a fair point that you make there, because, obviously we've gone over this a lot on here, but like the decisions, obviously, with the ticket prices, obviously it's misread the room, because like you're thinking we're making more money, but at the end of the day, if you're not selling 1,000 tickets, where's that extra money? You're better off having people in the stadium spending money. Okay, it was on the telly, the Chelsea game. People will argue, maybe it's still in the summer holidays, but like you're right, it would have been sold out, and it's going to general sale. And it hardly any games. People were coming on here moaning they couldn't get ticket. Well, there's and you don't want people singing empty seats.
By Christmas, it'll be kids for £1, mate.
Well, I know, mate. That will be looked at over in Faust and HQ, and like, and it will be pointed at someone who's made that decision. We're going to get this extra money.
Commercial deals, because then they risk really upsetting the season ticket holders even further, who've paid an absolute fortune. And can I just make a comment very quickly about this new corporate package?
Yeah.
What that one eating at that restaurant right. They're clearly struggling to sell out WV1, because you look at the number of empty seats at the top part of the North Bank. I'd imagine that's where there's a deficit. Now, this Val and Val, it's a lovely place, right? It's a nice place. So the package is, you go there, you get a welcome drink, you get 1 course street food, so a welcome drink. So let's say you get a pint, right? £5. Then 1 course street food, whatever that is, it's going to be a value, a retail value of about £10, right? Realistically, there's £15. Then you walk from there to Molineux, and you sit in the lower part of the Stancully's quadrant, where you get absolutely drenched, and that is £222, including VAT.
Sign me up! Sign me up!
I saw that, mate. And I'm just
embarrassing.
Who in the right mind to buy that?
Including VAT.
You just think, who in the right mind is going to buy that? So basically, you go to a restaurant out of the city centre, walk to Molineux and then sit in the lower quadrant.
Yeah, and now what they're saying is, oh, you're going to get an you're going to get someone come and see you on the day, guest speaker. So look, I love the ex-players. It's going to be an ex-player. It doesn't matter who you get in for that. You cannot justify £222, and how they're going to sell that, I don't know, because it's for the Liverpool game. But let's say Liverpool do something very similar, but it's only because Liverpool, for example, have not got the corporate capacity, so that they have to do it at hotels and then ship them in. That's Liverpool. This isn't Wolves. It's just, I can't. £22, and I think
that is crazy. If there's someone that's watching that has actually enjoyed that package, please come and tell us about that, because we'd like to know if anyone's actually bought that. So it would be interesting. But yeah, got good points that you make. It's a fair point to raise about the seats. It's a fair point, because we all said it's like, what happens when Molineux starts not selling out because of this decision? And now people can see it, and they'll see that back home in Fosun HQ as well. And that revenue ain't coming in. So it's
a convenient excuse for them to not redevelop the stadium now, because we're not selling out.
Dave, well, that's another point around the attendances, which needs to be addressed. So up until this season, you've been able to buy a season ticket and then sell your seat back to the club, and which is a little bit, what they give you for it is probably not very fair. But you can do it. You can do it. Unfortunately, the rules are, if the game hasn't sold out, those seats are not available to buy. So people who've been struggling and still maintain their season ticket, and maybe stopped doing something normal in their life to carry on with their season ticket, that may have banked on, oh well, okay, maybe I'll sell my seats back, and I'll use that money to buy a Sudo shirt this year that I can afford it. They're not going to be able to, because we ain't going to sell the games out. And with the performances, it's just going to get worse.
And this is the thing, me and Manny, obviously, now and again, we shouldn't do it, by the way, but we do auction off or raffle off the tickets for charity, don't we, Manny? Well, I do. And the problem is,
I'll give them away now, to be honest. You can't even.
You can't get anything for them.
Can't give them away.
No, you can't give them away. Give them away.
Give them away.
They want 222 quid for a pint. What's going on?
And you get street food. That's a samosa. Street food. I mean, you can have one for 10p off, mate.
Manny.
They have peas in them.
Manny, you know how much it costs to make a samosa. Let's just say it costs that street food £5. It's a 10 quid.
Street food is street food. It's nothing. It's just, that's when I saw that, I thought it was actually a hoax. I thought somebody actually typed it up and just put it up as a laugh, but it was actually true. I said the next they'll be sending. I actually replied and said next they'll be selling £150 package for you to stay at home and get a dodgy stick from Dave from down the road and make your own food from your own fridge, and they'll charge you for that. It's horrific. Imagine charging a corporate package with no hospitality at the ground, and you have to sit in a normal seat. That's horrific.
What's stopping people? So the equivalent is going to the pub, having a pint, having a bite to eat, walking to the Molineux. You've got the same package for 60 quid. So why they charging?
I can't understand. I can't understand it. If I was going to take somebody to a Wolves game, which I have done through business, and pay 220 quid for that privilege, and I took them to some place in the middle of Wolverhampton, and then traipsed them across town for God knows how long till they got to the ground, they probably wouldn't think much of my corporate hospital.
I think it's in Chapel Ash, this place.
Chapel Ash. If they carried you in a sedan chair, fair enough.
But listen,
it's about a 20-minute walk anyway.
Listen, it could be anywhere. It could be anywhere in Wolverhampton. It could be Bella. It could be the Mount Hotel. It could be any top restaurant in Wolverhampton, right? Who come up with the price point? Who sat there and went, 180 quid plus VAT? Yep, go for it. We'll sell out. 180 quid plus VAT.
This will be Jeff Shee's deal. It'll be Jeff Shee.
No, I don't think. I'm not sure whether Jeff gets involved in that sort of thing. It's a commercial thing, but he probably will sign off on it. But I don't think Jeff will get in negotiation with the local restaurant. That won't be at his pay grade, that's for sure. George, back onto man of the match performance rating and moment of the day.
Yeah, I think, man of the match, it's Andre, isn't it? But I'm going to go for something a little bit different. Someone I mentioned to you on the day, Bellegarde. I think I've been a critic of him in the past. I've questioned if he deserves that place in the team. Is he more of an attacking mid than giving the width and stuff? And I've just had my doubts. Obviously, he shook me up a bit with the goal against Forest, but we know he's got that in his locker. But I think he looked really good. And I think he works hard, and I think that's why Gary likes him and why he keeps picking him. He works hard for the team. I think he drops back into midfield and offers a little more defensive support as well. So I'm going to give it to Bellegarde. You know, he's warming on me, and he played well. He did play well. Moment of the match was Sam Johnson nearly passing it straight to their centre forward for a tap in from 3 yards after he was brought in because Sarr can't play with his feet.
Yeah, that was the second time that happened as well.
I know. I think at the end of the day, we've bought him in our field a bit for the sake of it. I think he's a bit of a calmer head. I'm not going to be a massive critic, but it just stinks of O'Neill can't stand Sarr. But is it really the solution? It just seems like we've spent 10 million to get a keeper in who's very similar to Sarr. And he's no better with his feet. I think he's long kicking. It didn't look anything special.
George, I think the jury's out. Right. You've got to give Sam a few games to be able to say that. Yeah, it was his first game at Molineux, so maybe he took a bit more risk. But we need to see a few more games, don't we? Really, to be able to judge on whether he's better with his feet or not. Is that fair?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I think that's definitely fair. I don't actually see him as an upgrade on Sarr, though, but he looked okay. Just a bit of a pointless situation for me. But yeah, just briefly on what was my performance rate? I'll give it a 6. I did actually think the first 20 minutes we didn't look great, but at least we absorbed them. I think they had most of play, didn't they? First 20. Then we came into it more. So I'd say that first half, it was half a good half. Obviously, we got the goal. And then second half, we started well rather than starting slowly. But I never felt fully confident. I never felt fully secure. So for me, I can't give over a 6 when I never felt the game was safe, to be honest. And just in general, just on what you were talking about the fan situation and these tickets and all that, it all feels a little bit flat. And that's the problem with this lack of ambition. You can feel the flatness in the stadium. You can feel it surrounding the club now. And it's a total
it's like a malaise just there under the surface.
But I'll tell you where these malaises always end. As soon as a club tries to just stay up every season, you might do it for 8 years. Yeah. But eventually the trap door comes for you. Wigan, Southampton. You can't play it safe. It will get you in the end. The only teams that stay in the Premier League, everyone else rotates, and we've got these big top 6 to 8 because what are they constantly doing? Investing, pushing, going for more and more. Because in a league that's going like that every single season, you can't stand still, and you might be able to do it for 5 years even, but eventually it doesn't work. And I think they know that. And I honestly think they're waiting for the right offer. I think they're waiting for the right offer.
Me and Emma were talking about this earlier, that it might not be publicly stated that they're for sale. I know they're looking for investors, but if an investor comes in and says, I want 60% and the price is right, I can see it happening. Sutty, you've waited very patiently. Thank you. You've had a few claps as well.
It's right up my street, this bit, Dave, to be honest. I'll give Andre man of the match. Bloke was outstanding. I don't think anybody played bad, Dave, to be honest. My only worry is a lack of mental steel when the time's to dig in and the going gets tough. We don't seem to be wanting to dig ourselves out of a big black hole when, like I've just mentioned, other teams, local teams, they go 2 down, they look and think, well, we'll win 3-2. Wolves don't do that, Dave. We buckle.
We used to.
Well, used to. We don't know more, mate.
2-0 down, Villa, 81 minutes.
Well, we don't know, Dave. That was 3 years ago. Let's get into the real world.
I know.
So Andre, he will be worth a lot of money. And our illustrious chairman must have been looking at that, drooling, thinking, give him 18 months and I'm going to treble my money on him. I don't care about 2,000 seats being empty. So I want to give it a 6, Dave, because you can't award any more than that for a defeat in my eyes. Moment of the day. Well, I'm a bit like Manny. I was actually stood on the South Bank, chuckling at an away support, singing empty seats everywhere. That might be embarrassing to some, Dave, not to me, because it's absolutely proven a point that we have a chairman who makes decisions that he does not care about any single individual on this podcast, whether that be you lauding them all the time, me dissing them all the time.
I just want to say I don't laud them all the time. I will have my points. I'll try to be balanced and give everyone their say.
Well,
I think he's on about me.
Yeah, Lordy. Lordy, yeah.
But I certainly will be consistent in my views. I still think, had we all made them suffer for 1 year, there wouldn't be 2,000 empty seats. I think the place would be full as it used to be. But no, we buckled under pressure, and some of us decided that we would just go with the flow and not make them suffer.
How are you going to make them suffer?
You know, Dave.
It wouldn't work. Would not work. That would not work. The only thing that makes them suffer is the South Bank or Molineux turning. That's when it happens. Not buying shirts isn't going to put it.
It's the best way, Dave, to show them that as a fan base of multiples of tens of thousands, if there's nobody going in that shop, they know we're not for messing with. That is fact. Now, whether you like a £2 sale on a shirt, a £2 saving, that's up to you. But I'm telling you now, had you stuck to it, like what we thought,
there was never any boycott ever. The one that could have been done.
What I'm saying to you,
I'm doing my own personal boycott. I won't be touching anything.
This is the reason why you're thinking, because you do a boycott, someone buys a shirt, and then while you're doing that, fans turn on fans, and that ain't good. That's
1 year. All you had to do was 1 year, and you bottled it. But I haven't bottled it. That's up to down to you.
You don't buy a shirt anyway,
mate. I used to buy every shirt for my boy.
Well, okay, fair enough. But you don't,
year, mate. Not a chance. He'll wear a retro one.
The problem is
for the foreseeable future.
I mean, with the boycotting, the best way to boycott is do it with your feet, and that's not go to games. But no one will do that. You know, that's the biggest thing.
Well, there are a few that aren't doing it. There are a few that aren't doing it.
They will do that, mate.
Yeah, but
2,000 people haven't done that.
Yeah, but there's you can't do it in mass numbers, right? But the other thing is,
2,000 people is 10% of our season ticket holding. That's a huge number.
Yeah, the shirts can be sold anywhere in the world now. That's the other thing. So there's so many people who don't go to games, who'll never go to games, who buy the shirts. So they will sell the number they need to without us legacy fans.
They guaranteed the money anyway. It wouldn't make any difference whether they sold one shirt or not. That money's still guaranteed. That's why it wouldn't work, because the money's already there.
No, I'm not saying do a shirt boycott. I'm saying what we should have done.
But you said the biggest thing, and you were right when you said it a long time ago. When Molineux turns and the away support turns, and then they start chanting and stuff like that, that's when it really hits home. It's like,
well, I know a lot of the diehards, Dave, that have been priced out of it. Can't do it. Molineux's never been so quiet, Dave.
Oh,
that's because we're not winning.
Well,
it's always the same when we're not winning. It gets a bit.
It's like a hamster going round on a wheel. This, Dave. There's a reason why we're not winning, and that's because we're not getting properly invested in. We're selling our crown jewels. We're replacing them with rocks half the time, hoping that they'll become better. We, as a club, will win nothing with this philosophy. It is absolutely pure and simple. If you've got half a brain cell, you will know if you sell a Ferrari and buy a Mini Metro, you ain't going to go very fast,
but
very quick.
We've established the owners, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. The owners, I don't think they're actually bothered about winning anything. It's an asset.
They're not. They're not bothered at all.
This comes back exactly to what we're saying. And we're all on the same page with this. We don't want to hear we're Wolverhampton. I'll be glad if we beat Newcastle or something like that. We don't want to be going into a game thinking, oh yeah, we might upset someone. We're Wolves. We go into every game. We're Wolves, and we're going to win this game. And unless we have that mentality, we're not going to win. And
under these owners, let's be honest, we're not going to have that mentality. Like I said, apart from those 2 7th place finishes, we are basically, can we stay up and can we finish mid-table max? And that's where we are, let's be honest. And one day we will get caught out and we won't finish and we'll get relegated. It will happen.
If you keep... earlier, the culture is set right from the top and it filters all the way down. It's filtering down to the fans now. And it was so flat on Saturday. It really was.
Mm-hmm. If or when Molineux turns, though, do we think it'll turn first on O'Neill, giving the board a little bit of a get jail free card yet again? I do personally.
We keep giving the board a jail free card 4 managers in a row.
I think it won't turn on. It won't turn on O'Neill as long as he addresses some of these things we talked about with the mentality and the formation. If he attempts to see, like, if it makes the attempt that he's trying to do the things that we want him to do, I think the fans will be behind him because they will very quickly turn their attentions to the owners. But if he comes out with some of this that he's been coming out with in press conferences and doesn't address some of these things at the back, he's culpable.
I think more honesty is going to do.
Again, if Molineux turns game over, and that's the real barometer, Molineux and the away fans, when that goes, that's your barometer, and that's the thing. You can't escape it. You can't escape someone chanting, maybe get out of our club and all that sort of stuff. Not buying a few shirts or whatever, it won't cut it. That will. But whether that happens or not, it depends on what happens. I think we've got a team we've got a very talented team. I think we've seen positivities. I don't see a team that's not playing for the manager or anything or giving up. They're still fighting. And we're on a bad run. And I think if we do get some results, it can turn like it did last year. The argument, what you're saying about the season tickets and all of that, that's a completely separate thing altogether. And it's starting to show. But, as I say, folks on OQ are going to notice these seats not unsold. You said we'd have all of these people selling the sheets and we put it up, and then they're not making the money because them 1,000 seats are now remaining unsold. They might as well kept the prices down and sold more seats because more people will buy things. Sutty, did you got your performance rating? Did you do your man of the match yet?
Yeah, done it all.
Done all things. Right, we're just going to do a couple more people, and then we're going to come back with a little bit of joy. Our favourite ever wins because we've not got any. We haven't got any wins. So these are the last 2 people that have sent in videos. One of them you'll know very well is Brian from Southampton.
Hello, Dave. It's Brian here. Just about yesterday's game. I think people are overreacting a little bit just by the result. It's one of those things that's just fine margins. Could have been 3-0 up. A lot of positives to be taken from the match. Obviously, Andre was superb. Larson up front, a lot better. Nice to see 3 ball-winning midfield players that can play with the ball as well. We're not far off. We're not far off at all. I was speaking to a Newcastle fan on the train coming back, and he said to me, apart from the first 10 minutes and the 10 minutes around when they scored the 2 goals, he thought Wolves were dominant, and he wasn't very happy with what's the guy's name? The Newcastle manager, anyway, calling him Eddie Howe. he wasn't very happy with his tactics, particularly at the end of the game when they were just defending the box. He was he said that the best team lost. Anyway, keep your chins up, boys. It'll come right. Don't worry.
Hey Dave, Noah here, currently in Las Vegas. Another week, another capitulation. Shambles, absolute shambles. The absolute last thing to do is allow Cher and Barnes to shoot from outside, let alone Harvey Barnes to cut in on his right foot. That being said, I thought we looked very good going forward again. But like it's one thing as well if you're able to score goals, and that's cool and all because we have a good goal scoring threat. But defensively right now, it's not there. It's not there for me. And the back four currently is just. I think also something has to be said as well. Once Andre came off, and he, got subbed out, and then, it just seemed like we switched off in that midfield. Nobody was putting tackles in, and as a result, we really just we couldn't handle that pressure from Newcastle, and again we allowed them to cut inside on that on the right foot, and it's a huge no-no. It's a huge no-no. That being said, the goal we worked was very, very good. Also at the post as well. Cunha also had his shot saved, his volley, and stoppage time. It's a really good save to be fair. But yeah, defended Newcastle 2, Wolves 1. Another disappointing ending. Not the worst performance, but at the end, results matter. And in regards to our run-in, this was potentially a game we could have gotten a point, maybe 3 points from. So, anyways, I have a long drive home tomorrow from Vegas. And yeah, anyways, it's always Wolves. And take care, everyone.
So thank you to everyone that sent in video opinions. Much appreciated. We're going to just have a little bit of joy because we've had a thing. We haven't won a lot lately, so I thought why not ask our panel their favourite ever Wolves wins, and I'm really, really, really interested in hearing this. Who wants to go first on this one? Go on then, Jason. Oh, George.
No, go on, George. George, you go first. Go on, George.
I've gone then. Right, 2007, I think it was. I was 10 or 11. Wolves 1, West Bromwich Albion 0. Playoffs, I think we got that season. Eventually lost to the Albion anyway, but Jay Bothroyd with a winner in the second half. Remember it? First time I'd seen us win the Black Country Derby, that was. And I'll never forget it. Great atmosphere that day. Yeah, that's my favourite Wolves win. 1-0 Wolves.
Love it. Love it. Jason?
The best Wolves wins for me are dominant performances. So I'll just name, obviously, a couple. Playoff final 2003. I think we executed the game from start to finish and we actually enjoyed the game. I think the game, Burnley, Sherpa Van Trophy final. And the reason I mentioned that game was because we'd had 3 relegations on the bounce and we had a couple of seasons in the 4th. And then we won the 4th division. That culminated with a trip to Wembley. And once again, a dominant performance. And that was another great win. And the one most recently for me was Man United in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup to take us to Wembley. I just thought it was a very strong Man United team. And that was a Wolves team that had absolute belief. We had a roaring Molineux. We had, yes, the players were probably better than the ones we've got. I don't doubt that. But we had a rocking Molineux and we had so much belief. We knew before that game even kicked off, we had a very, very good chance of winning it. We ain't going to be thinking that way against Man United this season.
I love it. Chris?
There's a game that always sticks out with me. I know Sutty will remember this game. It's actually the 25th anniversary of it very soon. 1989 Division 2. We were playing a Portsmouth team. It's one of the most bizarre games I've ever seen. We were 0-0 at half time. We'd absolutely battered them, and couldn't believe it. It was the biggest battering you ever seen. And they came out in the second half, and we won the game 5-0. And I think Mark Venus scored his first ever goal for Wolves that game, and Robbie Dennison and Steve Bull both scored 2. It was an absolutely awesome game, and that, I think, is a game I always remember.
Really great shout, Chris. Thank you for that. This is winning, happy times, joy, Manny.
Yeah. From the past, I would say we played Newcastle, believe it or not, on a Wednesday or a Tuesday night. And I think it was the only time Andy Much scored a hat-trick for us. I don't think he ever scored. And we beat them 6-2. Kevin Keegan had just took over. It's just before Newcastle went on it. Yeah, and that was a great night for, we weren't really doing anything that totally unexpected when you beat a side, that well. And then Sheffield Wednesday, still now for me, was the best atmosphere. Yeah, the best atmosphere I've ever been in. Even all these recent games, just that at home, penalty shootout at home. It was a dour game, but remember, Sheffield Wednesday were proper Premier League club. They always used to finish decent position, good players, and that penalty shootout to come down back from 3-0 down in a penalty shootout and win it. It was just bedlam, wasn't it? And
the best penalty was the
goalkeeper.
Kevin Preston, yeah, that was a brilliant penalty. But recently, I'll have to go with the season, the European season, and when we played Man City twice, but the away game after coming back from Istanbul, everybody's knackered. We're all just, we're knackered. We've gone to Man City. We're playing against the champions. We ain't got a hope. And we start with Catroni and Adama at right wing back, right? And it's like Vinagre. We start with this disjointed team, and that second half was never going to go away from you. And that's quite a steep away end, and everybody ended up like 3 or 4 rows different to where they started by the end of that game. That was just unreal. What times they were. And when you look back at that season now, that European season, we can tell our kids and grandkids about that, because I can't see that happening for a bit, again. So that was a great season, and that was a great game that season. So there's 3 for you.
That's a brilliant shout. Sooty.
I've got a few. Been to a few games over the years. Ewan Roberts derby against the Albion.
3 hat-trick.
Incredible.
No teeth.
Brilliant. Then Newcastle away, New Year's Day, early 90s. Bully tore him a new arse.
When he was hungover.
Did he go for Newcastle that day then, Sooty?
John Burridge.
It must have been Burridge.
Yeah, John Burridge. Ex-Wolves.
And I've got 2 more, and people might be surprised at this one. When we won the championship, and we played Cardiff away on a Friday night. We 1-0 up, and they had 2 penalties in the last minute.
Drama.
And that was just unbelievable. That was the time, I always remember, I think we just lost to the Villa 4-1.
And that's when the guy went on WM talking about
the
gap.
He's going, we've worked you out, Dr. Nuno. You're going to lose to Cardiff. We're going to beat these. And then they ended up losing to QPR and Brentford, and we went on another run again. And what we did that season, we went on that season. What we did is we never lost 2 games on the bounce. We always, if we lost, we won 4 or 5. We drew very few games, but we won 4 or 5. So we always managed to pull away again. So that was like a really sweet moment for us.
With the Middlesbrough game with the size planked out down to 9 men.
Down to 9. No. That was actually on a Boxing Day. That was
it?
Yeah, it was Christmas time. That was size. We got Neves got sent off, didn't he? And Doherty, I think. And we ended up with 9 men and won 2-1. Bristol
Friday
City
night,
away
that
was good. Bristol City away was good in the Championship.
And it's back post.
But as well, just for the sheer fun of it and how funny it was, because we were absolutely shit on the day. Coming back from 2-0 down against the Villa was just comedy gold, because we deserved nothing. The goals were all crap. And I was stood right next to their home support.
I've got you celebrating. I've got a
Oh
video.
yeah, you have. Yeah. And this guy kept saying, when they went 2-0 up, he turned around to me, he said, "Do your coat up and off home," like that. But when we scored one, he just sort of shrugged. When we scored two, he was doing his coat up and leaving. And by the time we scored the third, Villa Park was empty, and it was a bittersweet moment for us because we weren't very good.
I've got that video. I'm gonna find that video. If I can just drag that into there? Let me just see if I can. I was
a little bit animated.
I've got this video. I've got to. I've got to. So yeah, just whilst we're doing that, just look ahead. Whilst I find this video, looking ahead to Brighton and Villa, guys. If you could all give us your thoughts on that.
Brighton will probably beat them. I'll start off. I think it largely depends on what the manager does with the formation. If we still play a back four, yes, it was there this weekend. But I really just think it's an accident waiting to happen. I think for me, he's got to revert to a 5. If he does that and gets our full-backs into wing-backs and attacking, we become a different team. And I could see us maybe starting to get points. I stuck my neck out and said I didn't think we win any games until November. And I reckon I'm not far wrong. And I think Southampton will be the first game we win.
Yeah, so you actually don't. You did say we were only going to get. We weren't going to get any points, so that's progress, I suppose.
No, we got one, Dave. So yeah, these people can pick the bones out of that. They like that. You know, the sentiment's still correct, isn't it? So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I've just found this bloody video as well, and I'm trying to drag it across. Next up, Jason.
I think, look, 2 tough games. I went to Brighton when we got demolished 6-0, and sometimes as a supporter, times like that stick in your head. I know a lot of the players have changed and they won't be thinking the same way. It's going to be 2 really tough games, Dave. I think Villa are on an absolutely cracking run, and they're a very, very good side. You know, this is going to be the best Villa side we've played in a long time. So it's going to be 2 tough games. If we get a point out the 2, I think we'll have done reasonably well, and I think that point will probably come against Brighton.
It's a cup match.
Oh. Is Ricardo Gomez playing? Sorry. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Oh, go on, hang on. Who are the fixtures? Sorry. Yeah, Brighton. Yeah, we'll probably get a point against Brighton. No. Oh, no, Brighton. Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry. I wasn't even concentrating then.
Should we talk about netball or something? Because we're rubbish at this football thing.
No, I think we'll beat Villa in the cup, Manny.
Yeah. I'll actually say my predictions. Brighton is going to be changed sides. Obviously, you know, he's already said that, but we can change because we've got Gomez, we've got Lima, we've got Bueno, we've got a few players that we can bring in, and it'll be so that could be anything because Brighton may change their 11 as well. Villa are playing their first Champions League game this week. So obviously, you know, there's going to be a lot of focus on that. There's going to be a lot of euphoria over that. And you could argue probably travelling to Switzerland is probably easier than travelling to Brighton away. So maybe that won't affect us. Oh, hang on.
I think that's it. Yeah, I've just found it. Carry on.
Is everyone's kit?
But I think, you know, Villa, you watch them against Everton. Yes, they're really good. We know they're good. But if we go to 5 with Andre sitting with Lamina and Gomez and soak them up, we saw that Everton caused them problems. Dominic Calvert-Lewin could have had a couple of more goals. He was 1-on-1. So they have got a bit of a soft, even though they sort of never say die attitude. They can be got at. So, you know, if we go 5-3-2, that might just release Aït-Nouri with a few runs, you know, Strand Larsen, Cunha, Lamina breaking forward with Andre sitting there, the three in the back. We could get something. So I'm going to go for a point. Let's be optimistic. Got to be optimistic somewhere, because if we do what Chris has just said, then Gary O'Neill's not going to be here. You can't go 10 matches and not have a win. You know, it just can't happen at this level.
Absolutely. Before we come on to everyone else,
just wanted to say the Brighton game, because it is a cup match, and we play a second string. That may actually we may actually get a result, because I think our second string is not too bad, and I'm really looking forward to seeing this Ricardo bloke that everybody's on about playing.
And I'm looking forward to seeing Pedro Lima play again. I really think it's a good opportunity for him to stake his place.
Right, ready for this. This is
There's
joy.
bad language in this. There's bad language.
No, it is after 9 o'clock.
I'm turning the volume down. The missus is listening.
Here we go. This is unbridled joy.
Blimey. That was scary. Look at that. I've got to go to Greece with that.
I don't know if that was the first time I met you, mate, or I don't remember.
What a hooligan. Banning order.
I do apologise for the bad language. It is well after 9 o'clock, but that is what we're missing. We need that joy back.
Do you know what though, Dave? There was a kid on the floor below us. He says, "I think I broke my ankle." We're saying, "Stay there, kid. You've took one for the team."
Oh, but yeah, I mean, moments like that, you know, is what we live for, isn't it? It's what we live for, and we need that again next weekend. Well, actually, I'd rather not. I'd rather us be like 3-0 up and not to have to worry. Who hasn't gone with their predictions yet? Go on then.
I'll be quick. Oh, I was just going to say, Brighton. I think we'll squeak through, and I'm happy. I think the League Cup's going to keep a little bit of life in our season. I think we'll squeak through. I think, like Chris said, we've got a decent second string. I think we'll squeak through.
That's the best performance of the year. The season was against Burnley. I never saw that. I was on my deck chair.
I know, lovely. I think we'll get through, and then I think Villa. I think we'll lose.
Okay, Sooty.
Yeah, I think we'll beat Brighton. I can't see us, but look, nothing to give me more pleasure to beat the Villa. I'll come on here next week and eat humble pie, but with a back four, I think they'll absolutely destroy us.
Fair enough. And just before we finish off, I do want to bring people's attention that the Manda Centre have a charity day next week. It is on the day of the Villa game, so obviously if you're not going to the game or in the morning, it's on all day from 10 a.m. in the morning. There are all sorts of things going on. It is raising money again for the Wolves Foundation. There's, I think, they've got the Wolves women are making an appearance. There's a bake sale, Dickie Dodd's hosting, prize wheel, live auction, charity car wash, all sorts going on. And so that's in the Manda Centre next Saturday. Guys, it's been a great show. We're just over 2 hours. Thank you for everyone that's joined in the chat. We've got over 600 of you watching live right now. If you've enjoyed it, smash a like. If you're watching it back on catch up, leave your comment. If you're listening to it on the podcast, which we'll get out in the morning. Just one final word from everyone. Give me something, just positive to finish on. Just 1, 2 in 3 words. Give me something for us all to hang our hat on for the next period. Jason.
222 quid for street food and a pint.
Bloody hell, Jace. Well done. No, you know what? I'll just say, because I've got to go. 6-2, we lost against Chelsea. which was an absolute debacle at home, first game. And we've come back in the next 2 Premier League games, got a really battling point at Forest, which was a good point. And for 75 minutes, we did perform well without getting that killer second goal against Newcastle. So that's actually on the pitch was a good reaction from getting hammered in a game, because it's not easy to just then turn up next game and get something. So we've got to take the positives out of those games and focus on them, the things that we did well, and just finish. If we play like we did for those middle 50 minutes against Newcastle, even against Aston Villa away, if we play like that, then we'll still give them a game for long periods. Yes, we'll need a bit of luck. Yes, our goalkeeper will have to do really well. Yes, Andre will have to play like, Brands Beckenbauer again. But, we shouldn't lose hope, because there has been improvement in the matches after Chelsea. Regardless of what we think about the seats and the ownership and everything, we know that's crap. But, we've got to hope and hold on to that, and fingers crossed one day we'll keep a clean sheet again.
Well, going to get a result, isn't it?
Yeah. Chris?
I think the thing for me to get across to people is we always need to keep hope that things will change and go the right way. I know I come on here and I'm miserable, but people don't need to let themselves get dismayed, disheartened, upset, and have other things that they think about because of the way that the football's going. It will change, it will get better. It might take a long time, it may not. Find other things that you can take enjoyment out of. I enjoy going and watching England now with this man. It's something, that man, which is something that I do now. I also go and watch Dusseldorf and keep following them, who are top of the league after 5 games. So I've got other things to keep me going, not just Wolves, and I think that helps me get through the abysmal stuff that we're seeing at the moment. So yeah, find something else, latch onto it, and don't let Wolves ruin your week.
Good. George, then Sutty. George
is playing that game again where you freeze.
It looks like
George is the world record musical statue champion.
He is. No one can beat him.
Go on, George. He looked so intent. He was looking ever so intent as well.
I was frozen, mate. What? You've
been frozen for the last 3.5 hours. You've been that frozen. It's like you live in the Antarctic.
Oh, I'm freezing here. Andre looks absolutely world class. No joke of a player.
Love
there
it.
You go. That's positive.
Sutty.
Positives, Dave. We're all living and breathing. It will get better at some point. It might get worse first, but at some point it'll get better. But I just want to say, I think as a club, we will always acknowledge the death of iconic Midlands players, and I'd just like to state our condolences to Gary Shaw's family and Aston Villa Football Club, because we've never had anybody win the European Cup or Champions League as we now know it, and he will forever be an icon of Midlands football, and may he rest in peace.
Well
said. Really
nice words.
We all echo that. We all echo that, mate. So and I'm sure that there'll be we'll be at the game next week, and I'm sure that there'll be something done. Minutes applause or whatever it is, and I'm sure the Wolves fans will pay total respect to that next week as well. Final thoughts from me. Look, we ain't a bad side. There are, like we said, a lot of good things. We've got some talented players. We've just got to keep being positive, and I don't want to hear any of this like we should be grateful for the win. We've just got to go in and believe it. If you believe it and you can dream it, you can make it happen. And we've got to make it happen next week. So let's go and do it. That's what I'm going to say. We might not, but if we don't believe we can, we won't. And that's got to be the message. to the players and everyone. And Lamina's right. We've got to get out of this losing mentality. We've got to start getting a winning mentality back and get on that run. Anyway, guys, it's been an immense evening. We'll probably put this into 2 halves on the actual podcast.
You said we're going to win the next 7,
mate. I think
Champions League, here we go.
I think it's Sutty that coined the phrase. You don't like this, it's a free hit. It ain't a free hit. We're Wolves. We've got 11 men. My dad said we've got 2 arms and 2 legs and everything. It doesn't matter who you play. They're just human beings. You can beat them, and we can beat them, and we will beat them, and we're going to beat them. Come on, believe. Okay,
always Wolves.
But we might not. But let's hope. Guys, let's do it. Let's do it. Listen, guys.
Keep smiling, whatever you're doing.
This is why we're not sponsored by a betting channel.
Keep smiling.
I just want to see Sutty celebrating like that again next week.
Mate, I hope Sutty, if we do, you've got to come and find me so I can get it on.
He's going to eat a big slice of steak and kidney humble pie next week on the show.
He said he would. He said he would. But let's hope. Listen, football is a funny old game. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows what will happen? Let's see. All right, guys. Thank you ever so much. Thank you for joining. I say well over 600 watching live. There'll be thousands more that'll watch it back and listen to it back. Thank you for your time. Keep the faith. We'll chew the fat again next weekend on Sunday evening. Till then, always Wolves.
Always Wolves.
Don't be sad, mate.